writers that made the list, and they didn't put me on there. And it stunned me. So I called them. Well, what did I do? I texted or something. And then I had a friend, Michael Dabney, who used to work there. He's a reporter for Indianapolis. He writes mysteries. So I think he called them, or because he knows some of them, and they printed my name like later. And I thought, why am I not included? I don't know. Okay, so but I'm over it, because I thought, maybe it's because my perspective is not as clear, I guess, to the African American community. And it kind of bothers me because it's not. But then I thought, I have a perspective of being a mixed race woman in modern America, and I get shit from both sides. So my perspective, I think, is kind of unique. Maybe not so much as it was in the last 20 years, but it still is. So
here we have one right here.
Did you outline the whole novella before you wrote it, or did you develop it over time?
I developed it over time, and no, I never do outlines. I can't. I've tried. I'm not that disciplined. So I just write it. So thank you.
Oops. I'm paying attention, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Talk about Uncle.
Oh my God, Uncle. Okay, Uncle won the Marguerite McGlynn Award for short stories in 2021, I believe. Okay, so back in the day on HBO, this was like late 1990s, early 2000s, there was this show called Taxi Cab Confessions. You remember it? So I used to watch it because the stories they were interesting. One story stood out to me, and I never forgot it. And this was like 2003 or something, and I said, after I heard the story, I said, I have to write this story. My second thought was, it's not my story. It's the person that told it in the back of the taxi cab. So every once in a while, I would remember that story and think, why isn't that written? And then, let's see, 2019, I started looking it up, and I can't find that episode anywhere on the internet. And I think I know why. Okay, so here's the story. Here's her story, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Her story, she got in the cab, was about her uncle. And when she was a little girl, her job was to take her uncle his dinner every night. He was a recluse, he stayed in his bedroom, he had mental problems. So she took it every night, took it for like, I don't know if it was months or years, and he started molesting her. And she was told not to tell anybody. This is her story that she told. And she did. So one day she brings him to dinner. He's always in his bed. And she said he was sitting up in his bed, and he had a shotgun rigged up, wired up, pointing straight at his chest. And he told her that because of what he did, that she needed to pull the trigger. And she did. And that story stuck with me all those years. So I thought, this is the seed of the story I'm going to write. And I wrote Uncle, and it won Marguerite McGlynn. It's not as horrific as that story, and it's got a little bit of magical realism. But anyway, that's the story of Uncle. And for the life of me, I cannot find that episode, and I'm wondering if they decided not to keep it out there because of that. And who knows if she was telling the truth, although if she wasn't, she was a very good actress.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh. I'm like enraptured. I am not moving on because, wow. Here we go. Hey, Robin, what is your favorite piece of writing advice?
take long walks.
Amen.
Take long walks, talk to yourself as a character, or talk to the character. Just don't let anybody hear you because they might think you're peculiar. But I think Stanford University did a study and said that walking does foster creativity, and I totally agree. So that's my best advice.
That's good advice. Here you go. How long did it take you to write Savon, not Vonnie? How many drafts?
8 years. 1,000 million drafts. It took me off and on 8 years to write it, and it started from a short story that I wrote a long time ago about a little girl that was growing up in the back of a brothel. And then I wrote the biography of the fictional Pompey, who was a conjure man. And then I put the two stories together. Michael, my friend Michael, compares it to The Wizard of Oz. I don't think so. But it has a lot of the elements of a little girl trying to get home. So that's what happened with that.
Here we have one.
Will you please talk about sauce?
Oh, Sauce is my favorite story right now. That's the one about the heroin addict that is in post-apocalyptic Memphis. And I think one of the reasons, one of the reasons it's my favorite story is there's a girl in the story named Riverly, and she's a lot like me. Maybe that's why. Kind of mean, kind of not. So I'm looking at my husband. Okay, that's my favorite story right now. And with the problem with the wild region, and I'll tell you this that I'm trying to sell them, is half. In the editing process, the editor was no longer with the publishing company. She left. And it was a small publishing company. So they just kind of rushed it out, and Sauce and a couple other stories were not thoroughly edited as well as I wanted it to be, but it was out. So I think they just did it because we'd already signed the contract, and I think they were mad at the editor. I don't know what happened. But they didn't really market it very well, I don't think. They didn't even put it on their website, even when I asked them to. It was just like, they had to do it. So I talked to them like in January and February, and I'm like, is there any way I can get out of this contract a year early? And they hemmed and hawed and hemmed for like a few weeks, and finally I think it was around the end of April, beginning of April, they said okay. So they let me out of the contract. And then it was still on Amazon for a while, so I had to text them and tell them to get it off of Amazon, so they finally did that. Then there were just some used copies on Amazon, and those are all gone, I guess. So it sold for $12.99. I looked it up on the used book thing, it's going for $25. So if you want a copy, I'll sell it to you for $12.99 and I will sign it. And then Savant's out there.
Yes, till 8 o'clock, and then you have to leave.
Oh, okay.